אולי מרגישים לבד ומאבדים אמונה, אבל עיניו על דרכנו לעולם לבד לא יעזבנו. אל שדי הוא אהבה,
הוא ברא אותנו להלל את שמו. הגיעה השעה לשיר הללויה. הללו שברא את הארץ, הללו שברא את הארץ. אף אחד יכול לומר שהוא לא שולט על הארץ ועל כל העולם.
כי הוא ברא את הכל, חייב אותנו לעשות את רצונו. זה לא קשה, זה מתוק לדעת שהכל בידו, והוא אוהב אותנו, אנו עמו.
אל תדאגו, כי זה דבר כל כך פשוט.
איזו הרגשה לשיר הללויה. הוא ברא את הארץ,
הללו את העם.
אף אחד יכול לומר שהוא לא שולט על החול.
כל דבר בארץ ועל כל העולם.
אלוהים שומר על ארצנו, עלינו לתת אור לעולם. קודם צריכים להתחיל בינינו,
נשיר הללויה, נראה את העולם.
הללו. הוא ברא את הארץ, הללויה. אף אחד יכול לומר שהוא לא שולט על החול. הוא ברא את הארץ,
הוא ברא את העם. אף אחד יכול לומר שהוא לא שולט על הכל.
אף אחד יכול לומר שהוא לא שולט על החול
ועל כל העולם.
To all of the family of Guyana that have come out today to celebrate, to partake of this great occasion, may the Holy One of Israel give you much joy, much happiness, and may this sacred occasion of Emancipation Day be blessed, and may the unity that you are expressing today continue even at the conclusion of this sacred festival. I will be very brief in my remarks, but I do want to say that as we look over the planet and realize that nowhere on this planet has a heaven, a paradise been established. I'm saying that because all of us want to get to heaven. And most of us would prefer to get to heaven alive. Is that correct? Now, I conclude that the only reason that there is no heaven on this earth is because those that are the planners, they simply do not know how to build the heaven on this earth. So subsequently, if we prefer to live in a heaven on earth, we have got to undertake the responsibility to build that heaven on this earth ourselves. I feel that 450 years of having the power, the wealth, the opportunity, as we look all over this planet to see what has been built after 450 years of absolute power. What is the mark that we should give them? Have they succeeded or have they failed? So once we understand that, then we understand that you must be catapulted into a position to establish a new paradigm. My faith, after what I have seen and felt in the midst of the people of Guyana, I am convinced that Guyana has the potential to build the first paradise, the first heaven on earth.
Wow.
And with your permission, I would like to conclude by sharing a dream. Last night, I had a dream. And in this dream, I was in the midst of a multitude of Guyanese people. And there was a great celebration like unto which I had never partook of. And I pondered as to what had caused this great celebration. And I asked the question unto one of those that were nigh unto me, what is it that this mighty people, what is it that they are celebrating? And a voice came forth from in the midst of the Guyanese people, like the voice of many waters, roaring like unto thunder. And the Guyanese people, they said, this is why we celebrate. And I listened and I said, tell me more. And they said, we celebrate because we realize the mistakes that we have made the last 200 years. And we will not make those mistakes the next 200 years. And for the last 200 years, they said, we were the followers. And they said, but for the next 200 years, we will be the leaders.
Woo! Powerful.
And I said in my dream, I said to the Guyanese people, celebrate, almighty people. Celebrate. Lift up your voices and celebrate. And I said to the people, tell me more about this celebration. And they said, we celebrate because we will not follow this techno, synthetic, industrial world into extinction.
Wow.
And they said that we will not follow a plan of development that has been rejected by the earth. And I listened at these words coming from in the midst of such almighty people, saying that they would not follow a plan that the earth has rejected.
Wow.
And the earth has rejected as we look at the ozone. And the ozone is tattered. And we look at the atmosphere, and carbon dioxide is filling the atmosphere. And we hear the weeping willows. And I was listening to this mighty people saying that we feel the pain of the polluted rivers, of the polluted streams, of the polluted lakes. They said that we will not follow a plan of development that will cause us to be disobedient and not hear the cries of the cities full of toxic gases. Says that we have heard the cries of the cities, of the rivers, and all of this is to say we must be aware that the earth has rejected. The earth and the ozone, the earth and the rivers, in the stream, in the lakes, in the cities, the earth has rejected. And I was overwhelmed that the people of Guyana realized that they cannot follow the same plan that has been rejected by the earth. I said, what a people, what a mighty people. And they said, this is why we celebrate. And I said, celebrate on, celebrate on, celebrate on. And I said to that mighty people, tell me more, tell me more. And they said, we celebrate because we realize that the laws of God were given unto us to constrain us within the boundaries of the living and to protect us. I said, what a people that realize that the laws that we were disobedient to, the laws were given to constrain us within the habitation of the living. And then someone came along and gave us freedom to trespass, freedom to go beyond, freedom to violate the standards, freedom to trespass, freedom to go beyond those boundaries that were given in order to constrain us and to protect us. And we then ended up expressing those freedoms that took us into the habitation of the dead. And I said, what a mighty people to realize that the laws of God were there to constrain us, to protect us, and to enhance the living. And we must be careful because freedom that has been given has caused us to trespass, to move beyond the borders. And it is for that reason that we became captives, because we trespassed. We went beyond the borders that were given, the boundaries that were given by the Creator. Of all of the hundreds of congregations in the city of New York, I was passing through en route to Liberia in the beginning of the Exodus. And I stopped by Kohen Levi's congregation. Out of all of the hundreds of congregations, and I was passing through in search of help. Help and support for the Exodus that was about to be set in motion. Little did the priest know, little did the father know, that it would be in that same congregation wherein thereafter the help that I saw, that a young man would have to walk through those doors. And that congregation, out of all of the congregations in New York City, and that was the congregation of Levi Kohen, wherein the Kohen was ordained. And I had passed through that congregation in search of the help that would come years later, because there was a soul there of those men that had been anointed and appointed for this final confrontation with the sons of darkness. It was in Philadelphia. It was in Philadelphia that possibly some of those that had come, they had prepared for undoubtedly the final confrontation. This was to be, they were going to set the father and all of those that were possibly supporters in order at that time. And it happened to be at the congregation of Zakwain Levi. And undoubtedly, out of that congregation would come one of those great men, one of the elect. And if you would ask him to explain how it happened, he would be hard pressed, but he had to converge on this path. And if it was to be placed in the form of a picture, these men, these elect, would be the ones that were called to put their shoulders to the globe, to the world, to halt the progress of the sons of darkness toward pushing this globe over the mountain, causing it to be shattered beyond all repair. And they would have to manifest nothing less than the power of your Israel to prevent the continued progression of the sons of darkness toward their ultimate objective. As you look and survey this planet today, in your minds, you must understand that those men, the elect, those men chosen for the final confrontation, those men have been born and are walking this earth today. They had to have been born at a precise time to be here today, to converge against all odds, to converge for this final confrontation. When your eyes behold them, they will look like ordinary men. But these men that were ordained from the womb, put their shoulders to the globe and to prevent the progression of the sons of darkness. Those men are in fact walking this earth today. No way, if they're not already born, then you forget it. Get you another automobile and forget it, because your end is nigh at hand. But if you yourselves must know, you must know that the deliverer, that the anointed and the anointed personages and the hunters and the fishermen, the elect, they have had to have been born already and be walking this earth to converge on a path for this final confrontation. Those special personalities are already on this earth. And they are already converging. They're already converging in a manner that they themselves cannot explain. And I named a couple of them. I named Zaquin Levy, one of those men, one of those that were chosen to meet a destiny that he himself did not understand. But he had to, against all odds, he had to converge at this moment on this path for the sake of all Israel. He could not resist it. He could have become like Jonah, but he could not. And if you would ask him to explain how he converged at this time, you too would know that you were who saying what against who. When he came, when, you would know that you had to be chosen by God. But all of us have had to accept a responsibility that we ourselves, as the Kohen said, that we would not have chosen them. And the Kohen himself, the Levite, those that I go to whenever I depart from the land, I understand it. I go to the priest and I ask the priest, and I am their superior, and I ask the priest in understanding what the Kohen said. But I know that, and I know how to pray, but I know that, and I understand this divine order. And I go to the priest and I ask them, and I say, pray for me. That does not make me any less, but it does make me obedient to the plan that God has placed before us. So although you will see the Kohen or Zaquin Levy, you will behold them with your carnal eye, and they will look like ordinary men. But I am their witness, because they can't bear witness of themselves. But I am their witness. These are not ordinary men that are walking this planet at this time. And they don't have an ordinary mission for what it is that they must perform at this time. Understandably, that no ordinary men could be called to perform. So I'm thankful. I wanted to take a few moments to be their witnesses, to say the things about them that they cannot say about themselves. But I am the witness that those individuals that you prayed for and that you know must come in order to save you, to save this planet. And I am the witness that you must know that those men and those sisters are walking this planet. Those that in ancient times were called angels. angels, those that were called saviors and deliverers, hunters and fishermen. They have already been born, they have matured. They're walking this earth. The elect of your Israel, those that must halt the destruction of this planet, they're here, walking this earth at this very moment, called and chosen for this mission. And I now want to go to what is referred to as the Great Commandment. All of you, everyone, all of the house of Israel know the Great Commandment. The Great Commandment begins with Shema. Shema Yisrael, Hoa Avinu, Hu Echad.
Yes.
Shema, the Great Commandment. Now, some of the young adults, it would be too simple for the adults, but some of my children, if the Great Commandment, the Shema, begins with Shema Yisrael, if that is in fact the Great Commandment, then what is the great organ of the body? What is the great organ? If that's the Great Commandment, now someone raised, because I said I was going to need your assistance. Now, whoa, okay. Let me get somebody's hand. I want you to share with Abba, what is the great organ? The Great Commandment, Shema Yisrael. And what is the great organ? Say it aloud. The ear. The ear. The great organ is the ear. Well, that's understandable. If the Great Commandment is here, the great organ would have to be the ear. Why is that so important? Because everything, every one of us came into existence as listeners. Remember, in the beginning, there was only one voice. It wasn't mine, and it wasn't yours. In the beginning, there was one voice. All of us, we were simply called to listen. Ears, the great organ. Hear, O Israel. So, in the Genesis, everything came into existence. Listening. Something that we all had to hear. And that's where we are in this generation. There is something that Israel has to hear. Remove the cotton from their ears. There is something that they must hear. And everything that you prayed for, everything that you dreamed of, all of the promises, everything has the potential to come into existence if we hear. If we hear, if it's something that we must hear. Brief recapitulation. First, we mentioned the breath of life. The breath of life. Y'all breathe into the nostrils of Adam the breath of life. And now I'll explain to you that what your Israel gave unto Adam, that enlivened his soul, was a mind. And if y'all gave unto Adam a mind, whose mind did he give him? He gave him, say it again.
A Yah mind.
The Yah mind. He gave him his mind.
That's right.
Who else's mind would he have given him? He gave him his mind. But we understand
understand that it was a portion according to Adam and his environment, for we understand that the heavens, even the heavens of heavens, cannot contain him. Y'all said that the earth is his footstool. I can't describe a foot that size. It is a foot that is indescribable. So I can't, when you say then, how did he get God's mind? Then you then must supply your understanding. It was a portion according to Adam and his environment. But nobody like this, no feet like this, could contain the mind of God. But you must understand that he gave Adam his mind. His mind. Because you must hear so that we cast aside all of the falsehood, the fears that have caused you to not be able to hear. We understand that God, David said he has no image, he has no likeness. We understand that God has no image, no likeness. The heavens, his body can't fit. Yah talks with you. Yah teaches you. You must understand that. But that foot that uses the earth for its footstool, I can't describe that. Certainly I can't wear that shoe. I can't describe that foot. But then God had to give in an arena for you to understand. So he used metaphors. Because, and in the past, when they hear certain things, and they become fearful, Jeremiah the prophet, when he was sent to Israel, and he said, go and speak unto them. And if they don't hear you, they're not rejecting you, Jeremiah. They are rejecting me. They are rejecting y'all. Jeremiah had the mouth of y'all, speaking y'all's words. But it's all a portion. It's a portion according to our environment. According to Adam. So he gave Adam his mind, what we refer to as the your mind. And this mind enlivened his soul. It called his soul to come alive, So, listen to the prophet. Cast off the fears. Not saying that, well, you think you Yah. Nobody in a sane mind.
קודם כל, ענה לתת לי, לתת כל הכבוד ליום. הוא שבחר בנו מכל העמים עלי אדמה להיותם סגולתו. הוא שזכר הברית וקראת באבותינו בימי קודמינו. לא עזבתנו בקיר שם בוער בארץ בבל. הוא הוציאנו מהקיר שם בוער, הוא הביאנו בחזרה לארצנו דרך מקרא. אבל לא נשכח, נעבוד היכלו, נעיר על גדולתו, כל ימי חיינו, לעולם חסדו. What I would like to do is to, since most of you are children, I would like to take my brief remarks from the fifth commandment. And the fifth commandment is, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be prolonged upon the land which the Lord God giveth unto thee. That's the English version. very, very poor translation. But the Hebrew states, Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, lema'an ya'arichun yamecha al ha'adama asher Yehovah Elohecha noten la. The Hebrew version is more to the point. It says, to honor thy father and thy mother, that they may prolong your days upon the earth which God giveth unto thee. Quite different, because there we find the warning and the blessing. It gives children the understanding that you must continue to be locked into the decisions made by your parents. God gives us the blessing to understand that as children, there are certain things that you must understand, certain decisions that you are not qualified to make. And it is for that reason that the 5th commandment, written with the finger of your Yisrael, is one of the 10 commandments that he would stress unto you as Abba is stressing unto you today, to allow your Abba and your Imma, allow them to continue to make the decisions for you on this path. There are things that you cannot understand. There are things that your brain, even at this time, is not qualified to digest. So, for all of you, I can see the blessing of you allowing your Abba and your Imma to make those decisions for you, which have brought you to this very, very significant junction and this very, very timely point in history. So remember the 5th commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, that they, within the hands, within the decisions of your fathers and mothers, they may prolong your days upon this land which your Yisrael doth give unto you. I bear witness that they have made the decisions that were best for you. It is for that reason that you are here in this land today with an external vision, a vision that will lead you out of the lands of the captivity and into the promised land to realize all of the blessings that your Yisrael has in store for you. May the Holy One of Israel bless you and keep you in the hands of your parents. Lift up his eternal countenance upon you. Be gracious unto you, and to bless you, and to give you eternal peace and an eternal place in this, his eternal kingdom. Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, shalom l'ka.
In the land of Israel, the saints don't even get this time. There's thousands of them there, so you can imagine. But again, he wanted to again have this special time with you. I hope you all appreciate it. Say hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Hey, Shabbat shalom l'ka.